Let's jump on to the next clip. So this is another clip of Jordan Peterson talking about relationships and it's called How to Maintain a Healthy Relationship.
My observation clinically has been for a couple to maintain their relationship without it deteriorating, they have to spend 90 minutes a week together talking about their lives, about how the house is run, about what they've all been doing to keep their stories caught up, right? And then they need to spend at least one time having a date, and 2 is better. 1 is necessary, 2 is better. And so that's sort of your minimal commitment level if you don't want things to deteriorate.
Rabbi, you've been a marriage counselor for many decades. What do you think about that?
The prescription is a pretty serious one, you know? Of course, it sounds wonderful. But thinking about what's behind that. You know, there are couples who do a lot of talking, and every time they talk, it gets worse because they're talking at each other. They're each trying to establish their opinion or their preferences, and so it always ends up being a disagreement, and they feel more and more distanced from each other every time they talk about things. So just talking can be devastating, can be damaging. When is good conversation helpful? You know, like the people used to say, the solution to all relationships is good communication. Not necessarily. There are people who are very articulate and communicate very well, so they let you know in no uncertain terms how much they hate you. And it's communicated well. So what are you going to communicate? So we're assuming that you like each other, that you're nice to each other, that you're trying to be helpful to each other. In that case, talk. Share all that good intention and all those good thoughts. But what if you're not that positively motivated? Then talking can do the exact opposite. So here's what I think is behind what Jordan is saying. When you're married, you're never supposed to feel alone. That's what marriage does. You're not alone. It's not just you anymore. But in order to feel like you're not alone, you need to know that your spouse is present in your life, not living their own life side by side with you, but that your spouse is present in your life, which means your spouse is interested in your experience. If we're having a conversation and all I want to do is tell you my experience, and all you want to do is tell me your experience, it's not going to be nice. If I'm really interested in your experience, like everybody says, when you come home and you ask your wife, how was your day? That's good. It's only good if you really care. It's like, how was your day? Oh, please don't answer. I don't want to hear about it.
I've got to run in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm just being polite. I don't really want to hear your whole day. Why? I'm not really interested in the kind of life you live. The details of your life, of your day, don't interest me. Then there's nothing to talk about. And trying to talk will only make it worse. Now, if you are genuinely interested in the other person's life, the details of their life, even if you spend 5 minutes, it's quality time. because you've demonstrated you're invested in your spouse's life. And even if you don't have much time, the 5 minutes you checked in because you really are interested, now your spouse feels like you live in their world, so they are not alone in their world. That's the main thing. So whether you have to have a date once a week or 2 dates a week, it depends on how really generous you are with your concern. You know, somebody calls you once a month, a friend, over the phone, but really wants to know what happened when you went to the doctor, what happened when you were in the car. It's therapeutic. Certainly a spouse should have that kind of interest. And then 20 minutes of conversation can be enough. I know the previous Rebbe, when he was visiting the United States, he wrote letters to his daughters who were back in Russia.
Just to clarify for our audience, when you say the previous Rebbe, you mean the one before the one we all know as the Lubavitcher Rebbe?
Right. The father-in-law of the recent Rebbe. So he had 3 daughters, and the letters that he sent to them, they've been published. Why haven't you written? It's been 3 days. You don't know what you're doing to me. It's not kind on your part. I need to hear from you. And then there's a letter that says, thank you for your letter, but there are no details. You didn't tell me anything about what happened when you went and when you came and what your husband is doing. He's a big rabbi. He's got big issues. He's fighting the Nazis. He's fighting Stalin. And he desperately needs to hear the details of his daughter's day. That's a father. That's communication. Communication doesn't mean words. It means interest, concern. Hearing a little good news makes you happy. And the petty problems that a person has gives you pain. That means you're not alone in the world.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying is so self-evident. Quality time over quantity time. And yeah, absolutely. I think about some people who I may spend a lot of time talking to and others much less, but the intimacy does not necessarily correspond to the time, the emotional intimacy.